Miley Cyrus is being sued over her Flowers song. And you guys know I like to get the actual complaints. They have like a whole department dedicated to trying to find infringements from someone who has money to pay. Miley Cyrus is worried that now she's gonna have to publicly reveal that As a lawyer of over 10 years, I can tell you that the word interpolation in music comes up so much. Is it sampling? Is it making a cover song? Well, actually, it is its own little category. When we talk about sampling, we talk about taking a piece of someone else's pre-existing song and putting it into your new song. And if you sample, you have to get a license from the person who owns the song that you sampled from. If it's a cover song, under the law, you have the right to do a cover song. There are some limitations on it, but it is permissible under the Copyright Act. And then somewhere in this third little category is called interpolation, which does require that you get a license. An example of interpolation would be taking someone else's melody without authorization and putting new words to it and then creating your own song. You are interpolating someone else's melody. Now, Miley Cyrus is being sued over her Flowers song, and she is accused for copying Bruno Mars's When I Was Your Man. And you guys know I like to get the actual complaints, so we're going to take a look at the complaints. We're going to go through a quick article just to explain what's going on. Let's start right there. Tempo Music Investments, which owns a share of the copyright in the 2013 hit, claims that there are striking similarities. So this would be they own the portion of Bruno Mars's When I Was Your Man. And let's talk about this. It's Tempo Music Investments. It has become a thing in the last decade where these huge artists end up selling their music catalogs for hundreds of millions of dollars. This is what I do as a lawyer through my law firm. And I can tell you that Tempo Music Investments and a lot of these big buyers are not musicians. They are not music people. They are people with investment funds, private equity firms. According to the lawsuit, which was filed in the Los Angeles court on Monday, September 16th, Tempo Music Investments, which owns a share of the part of Bruno Mars's song, alleges that many recognize the striking similarities between the two songs upon the release of Miley Cyrus's Flowers. So here's just the tricky part, because we have not just major labels doing this, but now we have these investment firms where they look for opportunities to sue. And I'm not saying that they don't have a valid claim here, okay? But what I can say is that major labels they have like a whole department dedicated to trying to find infringements from someone who has money to pay. Because under the Copyright Act, if you have a copyright registration and then infringement accrues, you can get statutory damages. And how much the statutory damages are depends on whether it's willful infringement, is it innocent infringement? And we talk about the willful infringement, you can get up to $150,000 per infringement. So these copyright claims can end up being in the millions of dollars. So it's kind of its own little business venture for these companies to find the Miley Cyruses of the world, make these claims of copyright infringement, which may or may not be true. And half the time, these things end up settling because it's so expensive to litigate these cases. Quote, "It is undeniable based on the combination and number of similarities between the two recordings that Flowers would not exist without When I Was Your Man," the document states. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's briefly take a look at the document. So here is the actual complaint. This was filed in the federal court, which is the United States District Court for the Central District of California, so aka the Federal California Court. These are all the attorneys who are suing on behalf of plaintiff, and they are suing, well, everyone under the sun. Miley Cyrus, Michael Pollack, Sony's being sued, Concord Music, Warner, and the list just goes on and on. So let's jump into a little of what they're claiming. They say When I Was Your Man was written by Bruno Mars, Philip Lawrence, Ari Lavigne, and Andrew Wyatt. The musical composition of When I Was Your Man was registered. Here's the copyright registration. Okay. This was a smash hit in January of 2013. It was #1 on Billboard Hot 100. Okay. In around 2020. Plaintiff acquires the copyright interest in When I Was Your Man. Okay. So here's the other thing. Remember, they said that this company owns a little piece. And this happens. So when we did, last year we did $9 million of music catalog sales. And when we sell, it can be the publishing, it can be the composer side, right? So that's what the publishing is. It can be the actual master recording, which is typically what record labels own. Either way, these are two really valuable assets that make money. This is why I tell you guys, don't be so eager to give up your ownership to record labels, because guess what? You can wait until later in your career and sell your music yourself. A Music Attorney is your #1 legal resource for artists, producers, and record labels. Get contract templates, one-on-one legal advice, free master classes, and everything you need for your music business. Go to topmusicattorney.com. Going on, there are countless examples of defendants, so meaning Miley Cyrus and all those other defendants, having access to Bruno's song in the 10 years between the release of Bruno's song and Miley Cyrus's song. Access matters. We had a claim one time where the artist was claiming this other artist must have, heard his song, heard his melodies, all his great words, and it was tougher to prove access because you don't have, for example, a huge artist. So there's just this person is everywhere. This is a song that became very, very famous. And so access is now a little bit easier to show. It does matter. Mars performed When I Was Your Man at iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas on September 21st, 2013, where Cyrus also appeared and performed her song, Wrecking Ball. Okay. Maybe she may have just heard it on the radio, which I think is what their point is about it being #1. Okay. Cyrus's song Flowers was released in January of 2023, approximately 10 years after When I Was Your Man. There are substantial similarities between When I Was Your Man and Flowers that demonstrates that Flowers is the result of intentional copying. Now look, some of you have heard this, and I'm reading this today. Miley Cyrus is worried that now she's going to have to publicly reveal that her ex-husband, Liam Hemsworth, is the inspiration behind her 2023 song. Now here's the backstory. The couple married in 2018 and their divorce was finalized in 2020. Now, Liam reportedly had dedicated the Bruno Mars song to Miley. This was back in 2013. And it said that because it was like their song, it was often referenced in their relationship. There was also a claim that he played the song at their wedding. So the speculation is obviously that the song would have been very inspiring because the Flower song was about her ex's infidelity, and this was kind of her way of getting over it. Now, we think about the Blurred Lines, Robin Thicke song, and the Marvin Gaye estate suing, and just basically, there were interviews that came out, if you guys remember this, and there was Pharrell Williams. He was the one that was talking about just taking inspiration from the Marvin Gaye song, and so when there is evidence that can be shown to a jury, not only that you likely were exposed to the song, including if there happens to be like wedding footage that comes out and people who can testify as to the meaning of the song. So it was played lots and lots and lots of times, and now we're breaking up, and so there's a high likelihood that the inspiration was in fact used. Now, does taking inspiration from a song in itself mean that you have committed copyright infringement? No, not necessarily. So this is where we get into extremely gray territory. Typically, copyright infringement does not carry with general "I was inspired by." We can hear a song that's all about being in love and having your heart broken, and you write a song about being in love and having your heart broken. That's not copyright infringement, right? It's that you are actually, and this goes back to our interpolation. You go, Crystal was wondering where you were going with this. So if there's something that you are taking from someone else's song that you are interpolating into your own, such as a melody, such as a key guitar loop, and you are not actually licensing it from the creator, well, now we potentially have an avenue towards a claim for copyright infringement. In that realm, in the complaint, it says the melody, single lines of music, and harmony, chords and chords progressions of the chorus in Flowers are substantially similar to those of the verse in When I Was Your Man. Indeed, the opening vocal line from the chorus of Flowers begins and ends on the same chords as the opening vocal line in the verse of When I Was Your Man. Additionally, the melodic units 1 and 3 in Flowers identified below duplicates the basic melodic and harmonic design of E. So these are the chords E, D, C, E, F. Are you kidding me? Like, let me just say, how many pop songs go E, D, C, E, F? But let's keep going. At the end of Unit 1 in When I Was Your Man. Additionally, as shown below, melodic unit number 2 of the chorus, Flowers, is significant in that it duplicates the developmental process of the music in Unit 2 in the verse of When I Was Your Man. And for you guys wondering, do we really need to show sheet music and get this detailed in our copyright infringement claims? The answer is yes. I'm right now we're well past a year into a copyright infringement lawsuit, and this is quite literally how detailed we have to get with it. Now, I get to play these songs out of fair use, but I thought this was a nice comparison, so I'm sure many of you have seen Jared's comparison videos.
I should have bought you flowers. I can buy myself flowers and held your hand. And I can hold my own head. Should have gave you all my hours. Talk to myself for hours. Take you to every party, cause all you wanted to do was dance. I can take myself dancing.
All right, and you know, this is how we show it, side-by-side comparison. So look, right out the gate, side by side, what do you guys think? Are these two close, or is this just a coincidence, right? Coincidence does not equal copyright infringement. Equally, if I was listening to this, and this is how when you guys bring cases to my law firm, we have to listen to the songs side by side, and we have to make judgment calls based on all the things that we just kind of went through. What was the access? Did you send your song to this person who then magically came up with something very similar right afterwards and released it? Is buying you flowers and holding your hand, is this something that a lot of artists say? And so it's so common that you can't be like, I fell in love with you and you broke my heart, and so no one else can say that phrase. These can end up becoming extremely nuanced analyses, but you have to know, you have to think about this before you pursue and actually file a lawsuit for copyright infringement. So later in the complaint, a comparison of the lyrics in the two songs also suggests musical similarities and no coincidences. All right, so Bruno's song on the left, that I should have bought you flowers, I can buy you myself flowers, on the left, and held your hand on the right, and I can hold my own hand. Bruno, should have give you all my hours. Miley, talk to myself for hours. Bruno, take you to every party, cause all you wanted to do was dance. And Miley, I can take myself dancing. We're going to be following along with this lawsuit, so make sure you subscribe. And if you want to learn about the music business, how to protect yourself legally, check out the link below for my music business course, and I'll see you in class. I'm Top Music Attorney.